Hey YouTube, this is MindTech. Welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be telling you how to record your class presentations, your lectures, or any other presentations you need to deliver using PowerPoint, using Zoom, and also using Open Broadcaster software or OBS. So without any further ado, let's begin. So the first option that you have for recording is to do it directly in PowerPoint. This might not be the best option if you want your viewers to be able to watch your entire presentation all in one take, because they actually have to have access to the PowerPoint file. But this does have some advantages which I'll outline while I go through the tutorial. First, make sure that your presentation is complete, and then on the ribbon go to the slideshow tab. Then click on the record slideshow button, and then it will bring up a window that gives you this interface with the record button and some other options. First thing I recommend you look at is the settings button. If we click down here, they have options to give both the microphone and the camera device. What I recommend you do is hover over microphone and make sure that this is the one that works. Typically it'll either be called something like the Realtek audio device, or it will just be something that's like HP webcam. But if there are a bunch of different devices here, what I recommend you do is go down into the Windows taskbar where you see the speaker icon and go to Open Sound Settings. And then what you can do is look at your input and output devices. I'm going to select the device that I had selected under the microphone for PowerPoint, and then go to the test your microphone. Since this microphone is the one that's working, you can see something on this feed, but if it was one that was not working, as you can see, nothing is on the test feed. Make sure you go and test it before you record your PowerPoint so that you can guarantee that you have sound. Now, if your webcam or microphone has some sort of error, it will prompt you right here when you go to select it. So right now it's saying that I have some issue. One of the most common issues is that your webcam might be used by a different application. So I've closed the application where my webcam was being used. You can either enable or disable your camera and microphone before you start recording, but once you start recording, you cannot disable them. So if you don't want your camera to be there, make sure to turn it off before you start recording. Now you can just go up to the record button, and then you can begin giving your presentation and just going through the slides like you normally would. This will append to each of the slides, so I can just go through the PowerPoint like I normally would, and then once you finish with the PowerPoint, it automatically stops recording, and then you can go and review all the recordings that you had for each slide. So if I go to the first slide, if I press the replay button, you can see both the video and the audio that you recorded for this slide. And let's say you didn't like what you did on one of these slides and you want to redo it. One advantage with recording with PowerPoint is that you can go through individual slides and re-record each of them. I can go up to the clear button and then click clear recordings on current slide only. Now you can see the live feed of the webcam again, and if I go to record and just do my recording here, blah blah blah, da-do-do-do, I have the old recordings in place for the other videos, and if I go and press this one here, it is the newer version. And now once I go and exit out of that interface, the video recording is present on all of these slides, and if I want to go and edit or view these, all I have to do is go and hover over the video recording and press play right there. And also when I go to present the PowerPoint, it will automatically start playing the video in the presenter view, as you can see right there. Now you might be saying, MindTech, I'm a user of Google Slides. How the heck am I supposed to record that? Now, unfortunately, Google does not have a built-in recording feature, but what you can do is you can download and convert your Google Slides into a PowerPoint presentation. So if you go to the File tab, go to Download, and then click on Microsoft PowerPoint, and wait for it to convert, then it will download that PowerPoint right to your hard drive. You can enable editing because it is a file downloaded from the internet, and then you can follow the same instructions that I showed you in the video. Although if you don't pay for PowerPoint, unfortunately, you're going to have to explore these two options that I'll tell you about right now. Now, the second option for you to record your meetings or your lectures is to do it directly through Zoom, through Teams, through Hangouts, or whatever software you use. And this would be really useful if you're doing a live presentation and you want people to be able to go and watch it later on. I'm going to show you how to do it in Zoom just for simplicity's sake. First, I'm going to open up the Zoom application, and then I'm going to go to the gear icon in the top right hand corner, which will bring up the settings, and I'm going to go down to the recording recording tab. Here there are some options that you can change. The first one is where the videos are going to be saved. So here you can look at the link. You can either open up the default location. This is where all of my recorded videos are saved, or you can go and change that location to any place on your hard drive or on another hard drive. Now you can also make it so that at the end of each meeting you can set the location separately. I recommend that you check the third box to optimize it for a third-party video editor, just if you're uploading to YouTube, just so you can ensure that everything will be okay with that. And also I recommend that you enable record a separate audio for each participant who speaks. It'll make it so that you can either combine all the audio together if you want people to hear the entire meeting, or you can make it so that they can only hear you talking, so that people watching the meeting separately won't have to hear any distractions from students or other people. So I'm going to go and now close out of this and pop into my personal meeting room. And so I'm just going to make my little recording right here. You can either pause this recording, maybe if you're taking questions and answers and you don't want that saved, resume the recording, and then you can stop the recording right down here. You won't be able to have access to that recording until you end the meeting, so I'm going to do that right now. And it will give a little pop-up saying that it is recording the cloud meeting, and then it will pop right into the folder here where you have an audio-only version, you have a playback version, and you have an MP4 version. It's going to record to the computer. I believe if you go, you can hear both the audio feed and you can also see the video right there. Since this is MP4 format, you can basically put this anywhere online. You can also make it so that Zoom records directly to the cloud. If you go back into the settings options for Zoom and then click on view more settings and then go to the recording tab right here, you can either enable or disable local recordings. So if you do not see the options for recording on your computer, make sure to go into these settings and enable local recording. You can also make it so that your meetings automatically record, just in case you forget to press the record button. If you want to access all of your cloud recordings, you can do it right on the left hand side here. Go to the recordings tab, and although I don't have any cloud recordings, they would show up right here. And you can also view different local recordings that you've done, and I believe you can even open up the local file and it will go into the Explorer view on Windows or the Finder view on Mac to give you access to that file. Now the last option that you have is to use the Open Broadcaster software, or OBS, to record all of your meetings. And this is honestly my favorite option because it provides the most flexibility. I'm not going to show you how to install OBS. I have a tutorial about that I'll link in the video description. So right now I have a brand new scene. This is what OBS should look like once you first install it. There are two places that you really need to focus on: the scenes view and the sources view. The scenes view is things that you can change basically between different presets, and the sources is everything that will go into that preset to enable recording. So what I'm going to first do is create two different scenes. I'm going to do one for a face cam, and I'm also going to do one that is going to just be the desktop only. Now that I've created my two scenes, I can change between those while I'm recording, and they'll have different sources that'll give you different things that you can record. What I'm going to do now is add in some sources. First thing you need is an audio input capture. This is going to be your microphone. Here it'll give you a little interface where you can select the device that you want. Again, make sure that this is the device that you checked in the beginning of the video. Now I have my microphone available here, and you can see that audio histogram. One thing you can do with this also is you can change the levels of your microphone, and if there's an emergency or something, you can mute it right from there so that the recording doesn't have any bad audio attached to it. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add in the source that will basically make everything work, and that is we're going to add in a display capture source, which will capture basically everything that's on our computer screen. Click the plus button, go to display capture, and then you can select from any one of the monitors that are currently plugged into your system. If you only have one monitor, then you can just leave this as default, but since I have more than one, I'm going to go and select the one that I want right here, and then I'm going to press OK. Everything that is on the screen here is also recorded on this display capture. And now we basically have everything that we need. The last thing we're going to add in is an audio output capture. And what this is going to do is it's going to capture everything that's coming through on our speakers. So go to audio output capture, and then for the device, select your headphones or your speaker's device. If you go down to the taskbar and then go to your speaker again, this is going to be the device that you have to select in OBS for the output capture. If I go and press that button, you can see that on the audio histogram and the audio mixer on OBS. There's another scene where I want to add in a face cam, which is basically just going to be the webcam webcam, kind of like what we did in PowerPoint. So I'm going to click on the plus button again, and we're going to add in the same devices as we added in for the desktop source. Now that we've already added in these sources though, you can actually click on the add existing option and then already add in the ones that you've configured. Now we have our display exactly like we did in the last scene. Going to go into my audio input capture, add in my microphone, and audio output capture, add in my headphones. And now the last thing that I want to add in is what's called the video capture device. Click on OK, and now you're going to have a drop down with all the different cameras that are attached to your system. I'm going to leave it as the default one right now, since that is in fact my webcam, the Camlink 4K, and you can tinker around with a bunch of different options to maybe increase the resolution, increase the frame rate, but that's all for a different video. And now I can move the sides here to make it either bigger or smaller, and since I want it in a quadrant, I'm going to move it right up there. If you hover over one of these sides here and then press the Alt key on your keyboard and then move it in or out, that will crop the webcam, or any other device for that matter, so you can make it into more of a square instead of a rectangle. I think I'm actually going to go in and add in a third scene and call this camera only. And I think I'm only going to add in my video capture device so that everyone can have a full screen view of you if you want to switch to that while you're recording. And then one thing to note, there are two things going on in the audio histogram when I speak. That's because this webcam that I have has a built-in microphone, and I also went out and purchased another microphone that gives better audio quality. So what you have to do is you have to basically mute one of these, which will be the video capture device. And then the last thing that you need to do before you can record with OBS is you have to go into the file settings and then go down to where it says output. You do not need to look at the streaming tab. That is not what we're doing today. All you have to do is focus on the recording tab. First option is the place where it's going to record all of your videos. So you can either leave that default in the videos folder, but I have changed it to the place where I have all of my videos stored. And then the second option is the recording quality. Now I honestly just recommend you set this to either high or indistinguishable. There's really no need for you to change it to something like lossless quality, like that's just going to create such a big file, it's going to be really hard to upload that. And the recording format, by default this is set to FLV. Now you need to change this if you want to easily distribute this video online, and I highly recommend you just set it to the MP4 format, but make sure to change that option before you press record, because if you don't, then you're going to have to re-encode the video and it'll be kind of a nightmare. And then with all those options configured, just press on apply, press OK, and now you should be ready to record. So I'm going to press the record button now. What you can do is while you're teaching or whatever, you can switch between the different scenes that you want. So if you just want to show off your desktop, you might be in the desktop only. Maybe you want to address your students, so you can switch to the camera, and then you can go and do the rest of your teaching where they can see both the face cam and they can see everything that's on the desktop. And then once you're done, just press stop recording, and then you need to navigate to where you told OBS to store your videos. So I'm going to find that right now. Here's my MP4 file right here. You can view exactly what you recorded, and you can also see where it transitioned to the different scenes that I was clicking on. And this is also going to give you by far the best quality. Zoom only records in about 720p 30 frames per second, and I'm not even sure what quality PowerPoint records in. Also, this is going to be the most resource intensive, and this is going to give you the biggest file sizes. Depending on the hardware and depending on your network connection, you might want to choose accordingly what option you want. But with that said, guys, thank you so much for watching this tutorial video. I hope it was helpful, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Bye bye.